Hello, everybody. Welcome to MRBC Season 6, Week 3. 42 Smoke Jays versus Flavor of the Month Gaming. Sorry, I had a brain fart there.
It's alright.
I am Bandit P17 from the Marine Mechs. My co-streamer today is Radic, who's the wolf.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I don't
he
have
is
a
from
face cam.
he's from Antari Scorpions, so we're not going through Skype this time. We're going through TeamSpeak, so if anybody has any issues hearing Radic, please let us know in chat as soon as possible so I can fix the levels. But he should be good to go. Go ahead and say something. Say hello, Radic.
Hello.
Awesome. Looks
Yeah,
good
I
on
should
the
be fine.
Yeah, it looks good on the thing here. So cool. All right, 42 Smoke Jays. This is our second time shoutcasting Smoke Jays. They made a good showing against SIG. Obviously, the scoreboard once again doesn't show that, but they were very fun matches to shoutcast, fun matches to watch, and it was definitely a good experience all around. So we're hitting those guys up again because we're going to be seeing Flavor of the Month Gaming as their opponent for this one. I think both teams are probably, I would say, on the same level, so hopefully we'll get a nice, even, exciting match here, and we can see who comes out on top. Flavor of the Month Gaming, their other match they played, let me just look at what the score was. I think it was 2-3, so they actually lost their first match against Swords of Kentaris, a 2-3 decision, which if Smoke Jays did not have their overturned match because of a invalid drop deck, they would have also been 3-2 in their first match. So should be pretty exciting to see what these guys can do once they meet on the field together.
Yeah, it should be pretty close, I think.
Yep.
And yeah, it should be good. We have 5 drops ahead of us with Caustic Valley as the light drop, 4 lights, 4 mediums, and then of course we'll move into Viridian Bog, Crimson Strait, River City, and Tourmaline Desert.
Yep, and if you're not familiar with MRBC, all 5 drops are going to be played regardless of the outcome, because the score that on the leaderboard is decided based on number of mechs killed, number of wins and losses, and some other special cases like whether or not the commander mech is killed, or all heavies and assaults are killed in certain situations. So we will be seeing all 5 matches. Now, the original plan was to have a doubleheader tonight, and from what I'm seeing, unfortunately, I don't think the second match is going to occur. I'll see if I can find another match to jump into after this one is concluded, but we're going to be watching this one in its entirety. So I don't know whether or not there will be an Isengrim versus APOC match
Apocalypse.
tonight. Yeah. So that's a bummer. I was really looking forward to it, but we'll see whether or not there are other matches that are going on, so maybe we can slip in and catch the end of something. I didn't see anything that perfectly fit the timetable like the Isengrim match did, but we'll try and spread it out as much as possible here.
And if anyone knows of anything, you can just put it in the chat. We'll try to be monitoring that. And so if you could give suggestions when we're nearing the end of the FM verse 4-2, then if you guys just want to pop a suggestion in of a match that's about to go live, we might actually be able to get that.
Yep, and definitely, once again, we're just starting up this the shoutcasting for MRBC this season, so I have a couple streams under my belt so far, but if you guys have any suggestions whatsoever, please feel free to throw them in there. We'll take any and all feedback and criticisms and anything like that. Go ahead and let us know what you would like to see to make the stream better. One note, unfortunately, and I didn't realize this until I sat down here, my friend that I was borrowing the PS4 controller of, he was over last night and actually took it back with him, thinking I didn't need it anymore. So unfortunately, I will be navigating the camera via mouse and keyboard, so it will be a lot choppier, unfortunately. But I will try to still smooth it out as much as humanly possible, and I'm going to get a controller on order of my own to hopefully get back to the quality that you guys have been seeing thus far, or even better, if I buy the correct controller. So I just wanted to get that out there, and I'm sure we will hear it in the chat later on for people who are joining us late that it looks kind of crappy. And I apologize. One other note too, I made a change on my OBS. I increased the processor priority on it. My game has always run the game fine, but OBS has been reporting high CPU usage, and that unfortunately translates into a lot of stutter that you guys have been seeing. So hopefully by increasing the processor priority on OBS, it shares the load a bit better, and hopefully that increases the quality of the stream that you guys are seeing. That is definitely my hope. So, all right, well, Smoke Jays versus Flavor of the Month. These guys are getting into the lobby, and hopefully we'll be starting soon. So, drop 1, Caustic Valley, the 4-4-0-0 match. 4 lights, 4 mediums. Very fast-moving match. 2 ECM required, and there's a maximum of 2 of each inner sphere chassis, maximum of 3 clan chassis, and no duplicates for the clan chassis. And no strikes allowed for this one.
Yep.
Caustic Valley, we just played against you, Radic, the other day, and we definitely made some mistakes and got ourselves into a sticky situation, and you guys were able to definitely capitalize on that and wipe us off the map.
I feel like Caustic Valley and a light drop, it's kind of brawl friendly to a degree, depending on where you go and if you're quick. I've yet to see a real good mid-range or long-range fight. I believe the SGR Rising Storm match started off of mid-range but still got into a brawl. And I think that's just the nature of how light drops work. Unless you get a really open, really cold map. River City actually can work both ways, but it's kind of dependent on the heat and the visibility and just the
you there, Radic? Hello. I think I lost Radic. He was getting into some important stuff there too. Hopefully my TeamSpeak's not bugging out. Good start. Awesome. I hope he remembers where he was when we lost the comms there. And it is my TeamSpeak that is to blame here, so I apologize for that. Let me pop back in there.
Error.
I hope my stream is not affected. I do have a lot of issues with TeamSpeak disconnecting me randomly. That's why I prefer to use Skype for streams.
Switch to live casting.
Hey, Reddit, sorry about that. That was my fault. TeamSpeak took a dump. Do you remember where you were?
I don't remember the last thing I said, but I know where I was going with it.
Go for it.
Basically, what seems to make the light drop anything that's mid-range is if you have a long expanses without very much cover and you don't have too much heat. Caustic Valley has some of the long expanses, but it has a lot of heat, and that makes the shorter range, more heat-efficient builds a little bit more powerful. So I'm expecting Blackjacks to be very powerful as mediums.
I have been seeing a lot of Blackjack 1Xs, definitely.
Yeah. The Street Crow is powerful not only because it's a light drop, but also because it has good range and it's heat efficient compared to like a large pulse laser Street Crow or a large laser Wolverine. While those are powerful mid-range mechs, I feel like if you can get in there and brawl on Caustic Valley because of the heat, it's important to do. And I think that's been winning in even Division A matches, and hopefully we'll see some of that here in this match.
Yep, and it looks like we are connecting to the match, so let's hop in there, hit all the magic keys on my keyboard to get all the right stuff up, and let's see if I remember how to control with my keyboard. That looks pretty good. So these guys are going to be flying in on their drop ships and will be landing shortly. In blue, Team 1, we have Smoke Jays, who's the home team, and in red, we have Flavor of the Month Gaming. So let's take a look.
Alright, I'm going to try to get some ideas on what these mechs are looking like they have. We see a couple Ravens, 2 4Xs from the red team.
I'm seeing a lot of ER large lasers from the Panther and the Ravens from from Flavor of the Month Gaming here. So they're bringing a little bit more range. They have Jenner K, Raven 4X, Raven 4X. These guys are going in a range.
Although I see
deck.
this Nova here.
It might be a mixed build then, huh? So they're setting up over here on the Saddle Mountain, kind of spreading out, heading down to water now, and it looks to me like Smoke Chase is giving chase.
Yeah, 420 went through the Caldera, and it looks like they're going to come straight down into
They're trying to
this
just get
line.
some range here, but they have Smoke Chase on their heels. They're trying to return some fire, but Smoke Chase is coming in hard.
Right.
It doesn't look like they're
Looks like
slowing
this
down.
Firestarter A is trying to take some of the fire so the mediums don't get hit as bad. That's good. The light can spread some of the damage better. So he's faster. That's important. And it looks like these guys are going to get cornered here in this lake.
Yeah,
they don't have much areas to move.
They were definitely trying to get some sort of range, but these guys are right on top of them. The Hugin is the first one in on the Nova, starting to put his shots on the Nova, so he will be the first one taking a brunt of the hits from Flavor of the Month, but he is starting to put those SRMs on target and is doing significant damage to the Nova, almost all by himself at this point. The rest of his team has joined the fight, and they're starting to brawl it in, taking a lot of damage, hitting the Stormcrow right off the bat. Things are looking very good for Smoke Jays. Up by 1 now as the first mech goes down, the Stormcrow. Second mech, which was the Nova, they're all over the place, but Smoke Jays is doing a very good job at taking down these critical mechs.
Yeah, and I saw that Nova. It was actually 2 ER larges, so it's a range build as well. And these Griffins that are getting in there.
Next one going down, they got the Jenner. Jenner just went down, so 3 down currently for FM. I think FM was hoping to have a little bit more time to get a little bit more range on these mechs, and unfortunately for them, Smoke Chase just came in hard and fast over the Caldera and did not give them the opportunity to set up anywhere at this point. So they brought the brawl hard.
4 remaining mechs from FM, and they are just trying to move out.
Yep,
get away.
They are getting a little bit of range on these mechs, but only having 4 sets of guns shooting at 8 mechs, it's going to be very hard to get anything done here. And if Smoke Jays, at this point, since they probably feel like they have this in the bag, they need to be rotating out their weaker mechs to prevent them from getting cored out and just allow the rest of their team to clean up. Which it seems like they're doing a pretty good job with that right now.
Yeah, definitely. And the focus fire from FM is just getting weaker and weaker as they're losing mechs. They're just losing eyes on what mechs hurt, and they're not able to finish off any really of these mechs. So it looks like it's pretty clean cut on who's going to win here.
And 1 mech remains for FM in Caldera, being chased down by the 2 mediums. Doesn't look like there's anywhere he's going to be able to go.
Yeah.
And both of those mechs are in pretty good shape that it will take a miracle for him to be able to kill something before the end. So it looks to me like this is going to be an 8-0 decision in favor of Smoke Jays.
Yeah, definitely. We see here at the end there's like a Huggin with some pretty beat up legs, but I think just being by himself there in the Caldera with the Griffin right on top of him, he couldn't tell what was hurt, and he didn't have any options at that point. So, it's unfortunate, but it looks like they weren't able to get into a spot fast enough, and kudos to 4-2 for making that push as aggressively as they did. They didn't hesitate, they got in there, and they made things happen, and I think that's important for the brawl.
Absolutely. So, let's see, 42. Next map will be Viridian Bog. Let me set that up. And the rules for drop 2. Save. Awesome. Let's switch the scene back, and good stuff. So, Smoke Jays takes the first round, up 1-0 against Flavor of the Month. Very aggressive push through that Caldera. Really seemed to help seal the deal.
Yeah.
Got some people chatting with me here real quick. 1 second.
Yeah, I'm trying to check through that too. Yeah, it looks like you can get the replay from my channel now, unless you want to use your own. And you'll see the dropship coming in a little bit. I think there's a fumble where I tried to get some of the controls up.
I have it live, but nothing's come up yet. might be. That was a pretty quick match, so it's probably going to take a little bit for it to come through on my end. So, but yeah, I mean that was hard and fast, and I think that's really what Smoke Chase was going for. Their deck definitely complemented fast brawl, and it just did. I mean, the FM's heart was in the right place. They did push aggressively, almost over into. I guess they did push into Smoke Jay's territory, trying to get across that water and take a position over there. So that was a little ballsy, going into what essentially is opposing territory to get a position. Of course, they saw, because of the spawns, that Smoke Jay's was across the map, so they had some time, but definitely not as much time as I think they wanted. And Smoke Jay's identifying that, oh, these are the mechs they have, this is where they're going, we need to go quick, and that's in fact exactly what they did. They got into it. So let me see if I can get this going here.
Yep, looks like it.
Replay screen. Doing a little bit of buffering. So you are taking a look at FM right now.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the builds, like trying to guess what they were doing, and it was pretty clear from what I saw. They're probably going range. 4Xs are an automatic just showcase of what you're probably doing. You don't take 4Xs if you're going to be anywhere close to the enemy.
Yep.
And I went over and looked at the Caldera. I noticed the Caldera really fast. I was like, oh, that's where they went.
Yep. So
and right here,
at this point, this is looking very bad for FM. Just as a range deck, the blues are way too close to them right here. They needed a little bit more time to be able to establish, and here they come rolling right over. They are getting the initial shots, but that Hugin was ballsy as hell, leading the pack well further ahead of the rest of his team, and put it to good use. Really, I see you have that mouse glitch where your mouse is still visible as you're moving around.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't figure that out. Yeah,
So-
but that Hugin that took the first hits, he rotated out for a second because like he was taking a lot of
got
fire,
up.
but then he got right back in there and it was perfect.
Yeah, he got
You
back
just watch
into
the
that
damage he
that
does.
corner. So then it was a 1v1 between him and the Nova, and did a really good job at protecting himself in that corner, while sustaining the damage. He almost I'm sure there was help from the teammates behind, but a majority of the damage that was dealt to that Nova, I would say, came from just that Hugin.
Yeah,
He did.
you
a
can
really
see
good
the
job.
legs just wrecked on the Nova in that video screen that I was able to catch for a second there as I was trying to fumble through the spectator. Sorry guys, this is my first time really trying to work this in a cast. Still have a few things I'm learning here.
What I would do is pop into third person, and then you just hit P, and then click on the person's name that you see is doing the most. So just make sure you have the nameplates above their heads so you know who's who.
Mm-hmm.
And just do that. Like hit V, P, click. V, P, click. That's probably easier than just going through the spectator over and over and over again, because you can be a little bit more deliberate with your choices.
And then that will get me into the actual camera I want.
So you click on the mech's name, and it'll drop you into the cockpit.
So V, P, click.
Yeah, V takes you out of first person, so you don't have to do V initially. P releases your mouse, so you can actually click on things on your screen. Make sure you have the tab screen up, and then click on the name, and it'll drop you right into the cockpit.
All right, sounds good.
Could be a
I
little
will
bit more
endeavor
of a,
to please.
Could be a little bit more of an intuitive control scheme, but
Yeah.
we'll make do with what we got.
Yeah, we'll take what we've got. PGI is, I believe, still working on it, so hopefully it gets better. And as they watch these themselves, if they choose to watch in ever, then maybe they'll see some of the stuff we struggle with, and that can only improve the game.
Yeah.
So that's good.
But as for Smoke Jays, I mean, they were moving fast. I mean, they did have a little initial... Well, I wouldn't even say they had any delay as they came in. They just deliberately went straight into the enemy. Knowing that they had a brawl deck, there's not really a reason to sit back in that instance. But as soon as they see those large lasers going off, it's time to move. And move they did. And they didn't even stay together. They didn't have to stay together. That Hugin push was almost inspirational, I would say, just how deliberately he came in on that left side and was able to deal that much damage and take that little damage. That was some pretty solid work by him.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the other things is, you catch a team like that and they have one or two mechs that are just going to get hammered. Well, all of a sudden the rest of their team's wondering, do we stay here and try to fight or do we sacrifice them and run? And it's hard to make that decision on that fly like that. So, like, even if you do have to stream into them, you're still stopping them, and that allows you to kind of work that as long as you do have the DPS advantage. Obviously, streaming into a fire lane doesn't really work out, but they were still on the run. They hadn't set up yet, and it was just good on 420 to get in there.
Yep. So map 2, Viridian Bog. We've got the 2-4-2-0 match. So 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies. So still pretty lightweight deck, but we are bringing the heavy mechs into the fold here. And Viridian Bog, a lot of people have problems with the foliage and the obstacles on this map, so you see a lot of people tripping over logs and things like that. What's your experience with Viridian Bog as a competitive player?
So one thing that I will probably see is that middle mountain, that D4C4 area, it's going to get taken either from the bottom area to deny the top to control the stairs, or it's going to be the mechs are going to get up on there and they're going to be ready. And from there, if, say, the other team, whoever the other team is still messing around in the bog, you can either, if you're a brawl team, you can either drop off right into them and have perfect concentrated fire on whatever target you're looking at, or you can sit there and you can wait a little bit, because it is a fairly powerful map control position. You can move around to a lot of different spots on that. Another key location, especially in a heavier drop, is the Delta 2 hill, and that allows a lot more mid-range control of the map. But it is pushable. If you can sneak your way around the edges of the map, you can get up there eventually. So it's not, an impenetrable fortress, but it is definitely a strong position.
Yep.
So I'm curious. I could see one team taking mid-range and one team taking brawl, because I believe both can really work on this map. And the closer... One thing I've noticed on my own, the closer you get your weapons to your cockpit, the better it is to shoot through the bog. Because if you have a low-hanging arm, you can get caught on a tree. What about you? What do you think?
I think I get stuck all the goddamn time on those steps, and it pisses me off. So I almost always opt to take jump jet mechs into this one, simply to be able to navigate the terrain better. That's the biggest thing. And even just watching some of the matches today, I've seen a lot of people, even good players, just getting stuck on everything. But it looks like we are getting connected, so let's go take a look in game here. This is drop 2 on Viridian Bog. 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies. Still no strikes, and I think only 1 duplicate, maybe 2. I'll have to actually read what the hell I put up on my screen next time. Alright, so backspace, QB, spacebar, tab. Let's check some of these decks. I'm over on the FM side right now. We got 8 small pulse laser, fire starter. Gauss, small pulse lasers. We got the blackjack 1X. So FM definitely rolling the brawler deck here for the most part. 5SS, Nova, Hunchback 4P. Are you still black screened? Right?
Yeah, I'm black screen. I don't know what's going on.
That sucks.
Oh, wait, it got me in finally.
Okay, good.
It's just hanging on load forever.
So let's go take a look over here by the Smoke Jays portion. ERPPC Ultra AC5 Timberwolf. I don't think I've ever seen a build like that on a Timberwolf in comp play. They're trying to jump jet up onto platform here. 3 ER large laser. Summoner has some stuff.
So the FM is quickly taking this Delta 4 hill, just like I was thinking might be important. Yep. And it looks like
Smoke Chase is staying way back. They're just trying to get
420
their range deck getting started here. I mean, they're jumping up into the hills into relative safety. It's going to take a miracle for FM to get into effective range against these guys. So if FM decides to continue on through, they're going to take quite a bit of fire from these guys. I wouldn't doubt FM maybe should sit back and just kind of rethink this, but it looks like they're kind of coming in aggressively.
So it looks like all of the 420 mechs have jump jets, and that's going to put a problem on FM if they can't get up there and fight.
Yeah. Even
if they can get close, they're just going to be stuck at the wall. It's kind of like on HPG where you jump up onto the outer wall, and if not the whole team has jump jets, you're in a
This is about to get
pressure
really
position.
bad really quick. They are coming in so hard, but I don't know if they fully realize how difficult it is going to be to effectively put fire on smoke jays. And even if they do get effective fire on a mech or two, they're just going to step back out of harm's way. But with that said, the Shadowhawk 2K is already down to 73%, but these guys are pouring it on from their safe perch up here. This is going to be really interesting to see how this goes. It looks like FM is concentrating on the main body up on this spire, but they have all these mechs out in water here that have the ability to put fire on too. So they're moving around backside just to try and take away 4 of the mechs from the action. And we're going to see a lot of really tight peaks on the top of that hill.
That's how that works. Yeah, I'm trying to find. Okay, I'm in this hunchback, and it looks like he's just having trouble getting an angle.
Oh,
so
the torso on that. Yeah, like the upward torso is going to be so difficult. But they're dealing damage. They're dealing damage to smoke jays, but the percentages are definitely in favor of smoke jays right now. With several FM mechs taking a lot of initial damage on the run up. Now at this close range, FM's mechs do have higher point damage, and they can deal damage if they can get their weapons to bear. So it's really going to come down to smoke jays continuing to put the fire on target without exposing themselves too much to take too much fire. Yep. But as they continue to trade, FM is starting to swing it a little bit more back in their favor.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed is since they have 2 hills, they have multiple angles that 420 has to deal with. So if you poke out to shoot one guy,
and one of the smoke check mechs just went down. The 2K is down.
Yep.
So FM controls the field currently, up by 1. But FM is just swarming around the base with a majority of their mechs on this side to stay away from that hill in the water. But they're basically just taking their shot and then tucking up right up underneath the mountainside to prevent smoke jays from being able to continue getting an angle. So pretty good positioning here by FM. Very smart positioning, not allowing smoke jays to get their weapons to bear. Somebody's going to have to make a move here to continue it. But
I will say a few of the FM mechs are 1 or 2 shot away from dying. So if they make a mistake and go around the wrong corner, 420 could bring this back. Does 420 know that? I see a UAV up by.
And
I
at this
believe
point,
FM,
I'm thinking Smoke Jays is more concerned about the fact that they have some very damaged mechs as well, and if they take one step too close to the edge, they could potentially lose everything. I think that Blackjack's really going to operate nicely here, especially with the jump jets, being able to just put a little bit of damage in and then drop into cover. If he continues doing that, I think he can, even just alone, do some significant damage. But one mistake from either team here is going to be the difference between life or death. So they have gone into a complete jump snipe mode. Those 2 guys back on the hill in the water really not getting any play, but they're not coming closer. They don't want to lose that ability to at least. Oh, and they are coming across now. They didn't want FM to be able to surround the hill.
Another mech goes down.
And it is 1-1. They did get the jump snipe on
yes.
Hexadecimator in the Nova. So they've gone into just trying to toss a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there. And Smoke Jays has moved over and is getting a new angle. They might be able to take out that Stormcrow in 1 or 2 shots here. And he goes down. 2 down for FM. So that rotation over to the other hill by those 2 very fresh mechs or at least 1 very fresh mech, has given them the ability to push these guys out to a new angle. And now we're going to start dealing over this edge. Another 5SS goes down.
It looks like 420's figuring it out.
They are starting
around.
Yep, they're taking their time and being surgical. They're being very surgical. They're not giving FM the opportunity to reliably deal damage. Another mech goes down. They only have 4 left. 4 very hurt mechs. Now at this point, once again, Smoke Jays is gonna they can't get careless. They can't get careless here because they do need to preserve all of their mechs as best as they can to try and keep the scoreboard in their favor. So this is looking like, and it looks like they're just gonna rush in. They're gonna bring their freshest mechs down first, and they're gonna try and seal the deal very quickly here and end this. But another mech goes down for Smoke Jays. Another one down for FM. Smoke Jays will take this, but let's see how many FM can take down with them. These the Arctic Cheetah and the Firestar are taking a very long time to kill. They did not seal another Smoke Jay's mech, and that goes 8-2 in favor of Smoke Jays.
Yep.
That was some pretty intense jump snipe action, man. I hope you got some really good angles on that from the cockpit view.
Yeah, I got some of it, and then went back out into just to get an outside view of what it looked like from like right behind the cockpit almost. But yeah, it was definitely very good. I mean, FM with a powerful position, but then it was able to be just changed right, like with that surgical working that they did, like you talked about.
Yeah, that's I think the biggest thing here is that Smoke Jays basically controlled the field with that high position. Things were not looking very good for FM, especially because they had mechs that did not have jump jets. They weren't able to jump snipe back to get angles. They're forced to stay down below and just keep their eyes to the sky. But at the same time, because Smoke Jays had a couple of their mechs out in the water island there, that takes away 50% of the map that FM would like to operate in. If they were all on the same island, they could have surrounded it effectively, but they can no longer do that when you have a couple mechs out in the water. So that was good map control by Smoke Jays. They did a really good job, and FM, once again, got to give the guy props that breaks the stalemate. FM did not take no for an answer. They see that these guys are up in a very powerful position with long-range lasers, and they just went straight in. I would have thought that they would have slowed it down a little bit to say, okay, how do we want to approach this? But they went in hard and fast, and so as a viewer, I'm thankful that this didn't turn into a stalemate. They fought hard all the way up into the end, so props to FM for that. But if you were FM in this situation, because that was a very interesting strat by Smoke Jays, if you were FM in this situation, what would you have done to try and turn this in your favor? I mean, obviously, FM did quite a bit of damage. They just weren't able to seal the deal because of the angle they were at.
Yeah, so, well, first, I probably would have figured it out a little bit more before just going balls deep.
So taking a minute to talk about it before engaging.
Yeah, make sure everyone's on par with or on pace with what you want to do, and then make sure that you understand their position properly before you assault it. Assaulting a position generally gives you a certain element of surprise that you have the initiative there. So
and you do still have lights and scouts in this situation too, so
yes.
You can use those guys to effectively identify where the enemy team is completely without taking much return fire. And they didn't use those, at least not reliably.
I feel like they saw what worked on Caustic Valley and just tried to replicate that instead of going, oh, wait, the long-range team set up, maybe we can't just catch them on their heels.
Yeah, and,
I think
that's the biggest equalizer here, or the biggest change here is that Smoke Jays is in almost a completely unassaultable position. So it's almost like, they did have some jump jet mechs, but you'd almost have to preserve those mechs until the bitter end for them to go up and clean up the ones that you can't reach. But in order for that to be effective, you need to have some sort of control from the beginning. And then, unfortunately, I think Smoke Jays had control of this the entire time. Now, at first, it was a little shaky. As FM came in hard, there was a little bit of chaos. They surrounded the bottom of the hill. They started laying the fire in. But you almost seemed like Smoke Jays took a breath and started figuring out what's going to work. And I think that's where those jump snipers and the blackjack with the really high mounts, they started to really shine here, because they can go in, they can do their little bit of poke damage, and if they can get out without taking return fire or taking too much return fire, that is a victory. And you can just do that over and over and over again until your team wins. And they fell into a rhythm that really worked. They took quite a bit of early damage, but once they figured out how to approach this, as we can see here, just dropping that stuff in and then getting out, especially with the jump jets, just falling straight down and getting out of harm's way, really worked well in their favor.
So if I had to take a path to get into to attack this, one, I would not be entirely certain if I would just go for it, because it is a very powerful position, and if you didn't bring the right mechs for it, it's very hard. It also depends on how well you're doing in the league. If you're doing well enough in the league that the other team is more desperate for kills, then you can just hold back and do the same thing they're doing, and they're the ones forced to attack. And it's possible that the that 420 here felt like they were doing well enough to pull a strategy that allowed them to just sit around.
And as we saw there, they did in fact take their guys out of the water island and rotated them over to our left, essentially forcing FM to rotate about 90 degrees in one direction. And I feel like that new position, they just got comfortable in their old one, and this new position actually I think worked a little bit worse for them because it put them on a little bit longer side where these longer range mechs have an easier time reaching down at that angle than when they were against the wall in the other position. So once they did rotate over, and they kind of had to rotate over, but once they did, I think that was really kind of the end game, because they can't really effectively trade back anymore. And then here we got Smoke Jays jumps into the action, does lose a single mech, but is able to seal the deal on these mechs and win with the 8-2 decision.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty hard fought. I mean, that was just constant fire from basically the beginning to the end of this match. Not really much of a lull whatsoever. Everybody was just playing really hard, and that was about I think 5 minutes 30 seconds worth of, or more than that, 6 minutes 30 seconds worth of fighting, and that was just non-stop action.
So if I did have to assault it, sorry if I'm coming back to something, but if I did have to assault it, I would take a wide approach, not just going straight beeline towards it. And so that'd either be, I'd have to look at the terrain a little bit better, but that'd either be along like Bravo 3 to Charlie 2 to Delta 2, so you're just taking this wide approach to put in as many pieces of plateau between you and your opponent before you do get in closer. Or another option would possibly be, depending on what the visual of where the enemy position was exactly and where they could see, you might be able to drop down into the water and circle around and try to come up one of the stairs, and then use kind of like the low side of the lake area as your own, I guess, platform. It's just the reverse of a platform, and that way you're able to have cover while you're shooting upwards instead of you're basically using like a ditch to fight from instead of being out in the open.
Makes
and then
sense.
you can help dictate some of the pokes as well.
Yep, that's what I would do here. So these guys are dropping pretty quickly. I appreciate that. I do want to at some time talk about the teams, but I do want to focus on the maps while we have the opportunity. So drop 3, Commander Assassination. So there's a Zeus on both sides that is required. No lights on this one, so 3 mediums, 4 heavies, and 1 Zeus for both teams. Still no strikes, but there is the Zeus that is required on both sides. And they are dropping in on Crimson Strait. What do you think about what we've seen so far and how that's going to translate into what we're going to see here on Crimson Strait?
All right. So I feel like both teams are comfortable with trying a longer range strategy depending on what is like what they want to do in the map, and that's a good thing. When a team gets to the ability to look at the map and go, what do we want to do? Then you can see they're a little more of an advanced team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that there could be one team holding island, and then to assault that you either push peninsula and then cut back in to take control of water,
Mm-hmm.
or you can also do like a platform push from the pass to take that. Another option could be we've seen teams take Echo 5, we've seen teams take Delta 7, Echo 7. There's lots of more campy locations that can favor you if you are willing to sit it out a little bit because you think the other team's more desperate. And that can be a strategy long term, definitely. So
it looks to me like FM is going to be the one that starts island. The question is are they going to take it and hold it, or are they going to try something a little bit sneakier here? And how is Smoke Jays going to respond? Are they going to try with a poke deck to respond, or are they going to try and brawl rush it?
My guess is since FM has the island, since they're already down a little bit, they probably want to be a little more pushy so that they can get Smoke Jays in a spot that they can fight them in, and even if they don't get a win, if they can at least pick up 6 or 7 kills, that keeps them getting points rather than just getting a draw that's really bad for them, or getting a really horrible loss. So I could see them trying to reverse a peninsula by going up into Bravo 2 and Bravo 3, or Charlie 3 even, depending on what types of mechs they take, and then pushing the B line and trying to get in a mid to close range fight. I'm really curious though what they're going to do, and only thing we really can know is once we get in and see some of the mechs, then we'll have a really good idea what they're doing, and that's actually about to happen.
Yep. Let's go take a look. And remind me to do a drawing after this one. We've been moving pretty quickly here, which I appreciate.
Right.
So as soon as I come out of this match, I'm going to go ahead and announce a drawing, and then 5 minutes after that, we'll actually post it. So don't forget to hit backspace so it shows the people's names above their heads.
All right.
So I'm over by FM side. Let's take a look at what they got. They started a group on island and a group in the city. And let's see what we have to work with. Goss, ER mediums from the Timber. Small pulse laser, large pulse laser from the Stormcrow. Medium laser, large laser from the Wolverine. Blackjack 1. This looks to me like this is a brawl deck, and they are not taking island. They are immediately heading into the city. So what do we got over on the Smoke Jays side?
Yeah, so Smoke Jays looks like they are starting to push the right side. This is the B line.
Okay, what kind of deck?
For mechs, they got a Dragon, they have a Blackjack, Ebon Jag.
We're gonna have some early trading down the city. This is gonna be really exciting.
6K, BJ1X, and a Zeus. I'm curious what this Zeus has. Give me a second here.
This lead Lance may engage before the rest of them show up. They're moving right aggressively down B line. They're not wasting any time. So this is going to be really intriguing.
The Zeus we got on
shit's about
420
to get pretty
is
huge.
Large pulse and medium pulse lasers, and
Smoke Chase is about to meet up with the initial group coming in here from FM. They are engaged, but there is a Lance behind them. I don't know if they know that there's a Lance behind. This Ebon Jags is about to get a nasty wake up call. And we are started with a massive brawl here.
They're focusing on H. Bizzle, though. This Thunderbolt's getting focused down.
Yeah, he is completely surrounded. The rest of his team needs to get in there and start focusing. The Wolverine is starting to backquarter the Zeus as well.
Oh, and H. Bizzle does go down. And then X goes straight down after that.
They were a little bit spread out, and they're not together. They're not focusing. They're working down the Timberwolf in the back corner there. Well, 3 of their other mechs are trading with the main body.
And FM's at 51%. It's open. He goes down.
Another one goes down. So they are taking so long on Tolson right now. 3 mechs versus 1. They just now killed him, but in the time it took to kill him, they lost 4 mechs.
But there's T-Buzz as well, who's a little out of position here. He might get focused down fast.
They need to get on top of him as quickly as possible, but they're actually turning around and trading back instead of focusing him down.
If they just went straight towards him, they would segregate him out and not be attacked by the opponents, but it looks like they just got split up, and well, T-Buzz does go down to it looks like a back shot from Uncle Russ.
Very good job by the Smoke Jays mechs. Completely outnumbered on those outskirts, but staying alive so long, allowing their team of basically 6 or 7 mechs to just swarm the half of FM in that back corner. And like I said, the time it took to kill Tolson, 4 FM mechs went down. That was a very, very quick match. That was over in a heartbeat. But FM was focusing so hard on getting up to the front as quickly as possible, they never actually grouped up whatsoever. They sent their assaults and heavies right down the B line. They brought their island team kind of cutting in with their mediums from island, but they never came together. They hit from 2 fronts, and Smoke Jays just decided, this is the front that I'm going to hit. And it was a 7v4 match on that side. Well, the other group was fighting Tolson and just could not seal the deal on him in a timely manner to be able to rejoin the fight. So in a 7v4, it just went down so quickly. Mechs were falling so quickly, and when you have that many mechs surrounding you, they're starting to backcore you. There's nowhere to hide. But mad props, MVP in my mind, to Tolson, keeping himself alive that long. That is huge.
Oh yes, definitely. When he was when he was in that backfield and he just couldn't quite regroup with his main force. He just had to stick it out and fight instead of trying to run to them and just die trying to get back to his team. He stuck it out and put in a spot where he could get as many even fights, like try to force some 1v1s, and I think that worked out for him because he stayed alive doing that.
Yep.
And he bought his team some time. So just like you said, it's a very valuable thing to have on your team is someone who's willing to understand their position without questioning it and understanding like, oh crap, I'm the bait, and then just being able to go with it.
So just gonna before we get into the instant replay, I'm just gonna announce quick. We are doing a giveaway for a day premium time. So 5 minutes from now, I'll put it into chat, so we'll see them hopefully at about the same time. But type in !raffle into the chat to enter, and you'll have a chance to win that 1 day premium time. So that match went so quickly that your replay has not actually
it hasn't caught up yet.
So we're gonna wait for that. But in the meantime, though, I mean, like I said, the not getting together, not grouping them up at the beginning, not being able to identify where the enemy is, because there is no light mechs in this. There's no light mechs whatsoever. So your mediums are essentially your scouts, or you're just moving together and not having scouts. Basically, you're kind of trying to just learn as you go. But when you neither have a group of mechs or scouts, I mean, you got to have one or the other, and they did not group up. They felt like they had an ambush on that Timberwolf in the back, but they needed to kill him quicker, and Timberwolves are hard to kill, and Tolson did a fantastic job piloting it, keeping it alive, and that was huge for his team. So he did end up dying, but that I think is more important than any amount of damage Tolson could have even dealt. That was so huge that he was able to take almost half of the FM mechs out of action for that entire skirmish. That was big. So MVP definitely to Tolson on that one. So it looks like the replay is getting started, so let's take a look.
Replay's about getting started here. And then as you said you were doing those mechs, I was like, oh, I better get over here. And I started looking at them.
Yep.
Wait, I think I was waiting for you to stop talking or something here.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't say anything.
Biggest thing though is that, the big question everyone's asking, because you can go either way on factory side, but the big question is what is FM going to do? Because that's going to really truly decide how this is going to play out. And FM decided to brawl, so that means this is going to become a brawl. One way or the other, it's going to become a brawl. So Smoke Jays didn't waste any time, but just the nature of the map kind of siphons the two teams together and forces them to be closer. FM, though, with the one group starting B-line, one group island, they're naturally away from each other, and so they have to actually try to come in closer. So it looks like they already got the blip of one of the FM mechs, so they know they're coming in close. They're making their calls. Smoke Jays punches right down the middle and opts to hang a right into the 4 FM mechs, immediately pounding the 5SS. The Blackjack kind of throwing caution to wind, just getting in there and hitting him as hard as possible, and they take him down almost immediately. And they just move systematically right on to the next one. Amazing focus fire there on that Zeus, just taking him down before he could do much of anything. And then just continuing on through.
So I'm kind of wondering, like, what could FM have done better there? I feel like if they had focused on trying to group up a little bit before just pushing straight in, especially if the builds they're carrying, which looked a little more brawly, you want to make sure that you can mass all your fire onto one target as fast as possible. So I think they should have focused on getting together and then pushing down one lane instead of having 2 or 3 lanes to push down.
Mm-hmm.
And then if some of the more forward players, maybe if they had stopped and gone like a seismic and then pop the UAV and let everyone know, oh man, they're right on top of us. Quickly, we got to do something here. I think that could have given a little bit more warning on what was going on. Um, I know there's a lack of intel from the lights because there is no lights, but that means just everyone has to play that part a little bit, and just individual players being smart about what's going on could have given them some help in knowing exactly what was about to happen. So I think they were caught with their pants down, and that's why they had two groups of 4 instead of a group of 8 going against a group of 7 and a group of 1. So I'm thinking if they just stuck together a little bit better, they could have done that.
Yep. So once again, I just did the raffle into chat, so we'll have people start entering there. But yeah, that was kind of refreshing in my mind to see the fast brawl there. That was kind of exciting. You don't see that a lot on Crimson, and both teams opted for the brawl, and that was it was very fast. It was fast that we had to wait a while for the replay to even come up, but that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm glad that neither team messed around, but Smoke Jays ultimately did take that one, and everything went in their favor. So, and we've beat it to death as to why.
Yep.
So next map that we got coming up here, River City, drop 4. This is the 2-2-2-2 match. No duplicates whatsoever, but strikes are allowed. This is where strikes become allowed. So River City, this could go either way too. I'm thinking we're probably going to see either hard brawlers or maybe a little bit more in terms of mid-range. Goss, ER mediums, things like that. What do you think you're going to see here, Radic?
Well, with how both teams have been kind of playing, especially with that Crimson Straight drop, I wouldn't be surprised if they go, oh, it's another city map, let's take a brawl position. But then again, you could have, I believe it was 420, found that nice spot in Verdian Bog. They could play way back in the spaceport, and they could play way out in the water. They're obviously not opposed to taking a more defensive position, so we could easily see a long stretch and a long wait from either team. But I'm expecting there to be a more mid-range to brawl.
Just historically,
with how they've
been going so hard and fast, but maybe FM will take a breath here and decide to draw it out a little bit longer just to see if they can fix some of what we've been seeing, where they have been moving hard and fast, and it's kind of been costing them a little bit, not taking their time a little bit more. They're opting for positions that are a little bit more aggressive, and they need to go fast to get there, but it's not allowing them to really learn about their enemy very well. And maybe they'll see that and say, okay, let's slow it down a little bit. Let's see what they've got, see what we can do here, and maybe learn something about the Smoke Jays and be able to pick them apart a little bit more. At the same time, with the Smoke Jays, they may go with a power position and just goad FM and say, bring it on, come get us.
Yeah, definitely some of the key points, if they were to take a little longer range approach, you have Delta 6, which is the spaceport. You can sit all the way back in Bravo 7, Bravo 8. Wait, am I reading this right? Yeah, Bravo 7, Bravo 8. And that can force a really long game where you have great lines of sight looking all the way down south. And then another strong position is Delta 4. Controlling the Grove and Echo 5 can be important as it's a lot of cover, and it's possible to move around the map using that. So if you have lines of sight to shoot down on top of it where some of the cover is negated because you're high enough up, that's somewhat important. Not so much is used in like Echo 2, Fox 2, and Echo 8, Fox 8, kind of the edges of the map on the sides. So I'm doubting much will happen there. Pushing down, what we might see with both of these decks being a little more pushy, or both of these teams feeling a little more pushy, is maybe a G-line push. I could see that being potentially a thing that might happen, where they go down along that water and then take control of either lower city in Fox 6 or like the lower port area in Fox 4, depending on where the team is. I'm really excited to see what could happen here, because honestly, these teams have kind of surprised me with what they've done. I'm much more used to a little more conservative play style where you take a little more time, figure out what your enemy's doing, and then you adjust from there. These guys are just going at each other, so I think anything is possible, really.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm kind of excited to see, does FM kind of fix what they've been seeing, or are they, have they become frustrated now? It's very tough when you're down 0-3 to bring it back and start fixing problems and things like that. And but I'm not going to say it's not possible though. I mean, I've seen it happen. It's just difficult, and we will see whether or not they can pull it off here. But it looks like they're both ready, so we're going to be getting started shortly.
All right, I'm going to be ready to switch my screen.
And we are connecting.
Oh, we're connecting.
Let's go take a look.
Yep.
I probably shouldn't have clicked that fast. Whatever. Today's drink is a screwdriver because my son is sick and I don't want to be sick. So, orange juice with vodka. Today's match brought to you by Absolute.
Alright, let me see if I can actually do a decent job here.
I think I hit all of the buttons, so once again,
I hope
newer
I
map,
did too.
they're all coming in on their drop ships.
Alright, I'll check out the blue, you check out the red.
Okay. Let's take a look. Here they come. So we got a Battle Master, 3 medium laser, 3 large pulse laser, Gauss rifle ER medium. This is from FM. Large pulse laser, medium laser. I think this is a pretty mid-range deck. Medium pulse laser, 5SS.
Looks like 420. I mean, I see Tolson here in Gauss medium crow.
And
I'm
neither
seeing
team are
Enforcer
moving.
of
I'm
3,
wondering.
large lasers.
I'm wondering if they called a hold here. Somebody might be disconnected. Hop into a cockpit.
Unfortunately, we can't see if any of that's true. One second, I'm trying to
let me try
check all the
into a
mix.
cockpit here. And yeah, Flying Gecko is currently disconnected, so they're waiting on him to come back. They're opting for the hold instead of the redrop. It looks like.
This is a mech I haven't seen in comp before. 2 PPCs and 2 Gauss rifles on a King Crab. I've always thought about it, and I've seen it on a Direwolf. It is on 420. T-Buzz is piloting it.
Airstrike online.
Now, looks... Wait, are the mechs starting to move?
Looks like they're going, yep.
Yeah, I think the mechs are
on their
moving.
way.
And then Warhawk, 2 Gauss, 2... Yeah, both teams look like they're set up for mid to long range. So we should see some more trading.
I would almost say FM is a little bit closer ranged because of their 5SS and stuff like that with the medium pulse. And on Smoke Jays, we got the 4X, we got the Enforcer 4R.
Oh.
I think they're a little bit further range, and they're opting to go into the water here.
Yeah. Poisoner's Stormcrow has Clan Small Pulse and Clan Streaks on it, so that's definitely not a close range build. I mean, yeah, that Blackjack with the mediums. So I'm pretty sure that it is... Okay, FM will be a little bit more brawly, whereas I believe 420 is going to be a little more... Oh, they're moving into the water.
Yep, that's definitely the strategy they're running, is they're just going to try and put as much distance as possible to use their range advantage. What does Mongo have in his 5SS here? Let's take a look.
Mongo?
He's got 4 medium and 3 ER large, so that 5SS is not built for brawl. It is built for long range, and they're planning on using it here. FM is, in fact... waiting and seeing what they can do, which is what we were talking about. They want to see, okay, what can we do? Where can we go? Smoke Jays is going all the way across the water, kind of bringing their lasers into range on purpose here. We'll see whether or not they can get an angle. I don't think they can get hits in here. Actually, they should be able to... Oh, you know what? The Arctic Cheetah is calling, hey guys, come over here. Look at this.
Yep.
Bam! There we go.
Right
Initial trades. So now FM knows where they are. I don't think any of their guys were watching water. And now they know that it's a ranged deck in the water.
Bear Claw get take hit a little bit of H-Bizzle. Hexadecimeter's trying to trade, but is out of range from what...
So these FM guys need to get out of sight here and start thinking, how are we going to approach this? Because they are not built for... What happened to the Dragon? Did he overheat himself?
Let me see this.
I can't see the
Oh,
results.
did he go out of bounds?
Oh no, he went out of bounds.
Oh, that's not good.
That sucks for him, man.
Oh.
Yeah, this is out of bounds right
Ouch.
here. He was not watching. So that sucks because at this point, in terms of the win, just the win alone,
Yeah, and we see
FM
it,
has
they're moving
no
towards
reason to have to go in.
Yep,
They have
then
no
this
reason. That's
This is
very.
bringing
That's bad
this is bringing
for
420
Smokey's.
right in.
Yep. That
And
sucks.
it's getting dark, and that's not a good thing for range teams either. The darker it gets,
This
the
is
easier
going
it
to
is
very
see when you
quickly
get
turn
close,
into
but
a
the harder it is
mid-range
to see
team
at
here.
range.
They're going to have to bring it into the range, but that is the opposite of MVP there. But
Yeah.
Uncle Chalice, man, you got to watch
Yeah,
that
you
because
gotta
that just
be
puts your team in a
careful.
very sticky situation. So this just got really intriguing because instead of it being a standoff for a 0-0, Smoke Jays has to make a move here, and it's going to be a very uncomfortable move. It's going to be against what they want. They don't want to bring it into the city, but they have no choice at this point. It's either take a loss and kill no mechs, but there's no penalty then for
And
the other team.
it looks like FM is just drawing them further in.
We're gonna have a
They're
little
not
bit of
even
a
going to
light
try to
skirmish
get
here
out
between
there.
the Cheetah and the Firestarter on the left flank
Let me
here.
get in the cockpit here.
And it looks to me like FM is kind of responding to that, trying to take that Cheetah on. If this Cheetah overstays his welcome, he might have an unappealing surprise to this. There is a little bit of a trade taking him down to 87%, but will he stick around or will that Firestarter challenge him? Not sure. But here they come.
He's getting
Smoke Chase
seismic
is
on where
getting
the
into range.
light mech is, so he should know, but he doesn't want to go around that corner again.
Yeah, and the trades have begun here. The 4X is trying to get an angle with his jump jets, just try and get some trade in, but FM is kind of using this as a power position. Anything that peaks, all of them are going to try and get their shots on target.
Oh, we got an Arctic Cheetah just sitting
Tolson and the Crow
on...
coming right up to the corner. Might have a little bit of 1v1 trading around this corner here if he oversteps it.
Yep. We have an Arctic Cheetah just watching their left flank from FM, and he's just chilling on this nuclear power plant, just making sure. Oh, he's probably seen seismics now.
He's freaking out, but he's backing into the corner. Get out of there,
looks
man!
Looks like 420's trying to push this right side of FM.
This is going to turn into a fun fight. The Fire starts making a move on the Enforcer, popping up, taking a shot to the face. It's getting a little bit scrappy here.
We'll watch his Street Crow here. If I can get in him. There we go.
There's just minor skirmishes all across the entire battlefield here. Strikes being dropped like crazy. Percentages are, I would say, going in favor of Smoke Jays, but not by much. The Timberwolf, Uncle Russ, has taken quite a bit of hits. And that Arctic Cheetah just went balls out right into the middle.
All the way in there.
That's going to actually kind of cost him. They're not capitalizing on this movement. Yep, that was a rough. Now here they come around that left side, or the right side. But this is just doing standoff trades. I think Smoke Jays they don't want to get into an all-out brawl. They're not necessarily built for it, so they would rather do trades like this. And FM's kind of giving it to them, but FM has the weapon advantage at this range, and they're just putting it into them. The Warhawk goes down. They're starting to surround the Enforcer, and they're moving in together. This is not looking good for Smoke Jays. And here comes the killing blow. They're all whipping around, completely surrounding him.
Yeah, it's about to be over.
It's about to be over very quick here. Only 3 mechs remaining. This might end up as an 8-0 decision.
Yep.
And last one is the Raven, who's just going to try and get anything, but he's being engaged now by the Firestarter and the Arctic Cheetah, and it's not going to take much to finish him off. If I was him, I would be going straight at that Timberwolf right now. Going for Uncle Russ. Just driving as many lasers into him as possible. You're not going to kill that Cheetah. Go for the 1 kill on that Timber. That's all you can do at this point.
But he goes down, and it's an 8-0 victory.
Amazing how one mistake can completely flip a match around like that. And that, I bet you Uncle is feeling pretty bad about that. Yeah. I'm not going to rub it in on him, but that was costly. That was incredibly costly.
Yeah, because it forced 420 right into the hands of FM. But this series is getting a little bit closer as FM picks up a win there, and it was a good win. It was 8 kills with 0 deaths, so they made a lot of
They made
sea
a lot of
battles,
ground
and
back, definitely.
420 did not make very much, if anything, there. So that's very good for FM, and hopefully that picks their spirits up a little bit from the other losses. So it could still turn into a very good last drop.
And like we said, right off the bat, they took their time. They decided to gather information, let their scouts do work. They did take a little bit of initial fire because nobody was watching towards water, but it was pretty negligible and obviously didn't end up making any difference whatsoever. But, this would have, no doubt, turned out very differently without that suicide. That was huge. I think Smoke Jays would have continued standing off into the water. FM may have tried to stay back and challenge, or not even challenge them, but if you're behind like FM is now, I think you have no choice but to rush into the water and take them, and it would have been a lot more bloody for FM in that rush. But in this case, the suicide forced them to come in. And forced them to use longer range weapons in a closer range, and just on paper alone, things were definitely going to go for FM, and it went spectacularly for FM, especially having a dragon of all things down. That's hard.
Yeah, and on the replay, you should be able to see that dragon smoking right there for a second. I think I just went away from it.
Yeah, I just missed it there. So Smoke Jays wasted no time once that happens. They knew what this meant for them. There was no reason for them to stay back. They knew that FM had no incentive to go into water at this point because they had the win secured if that happened. So Smoke Jays wasted no time getting into the action, or at least moving up, because they might have been worried that FM was going to run even further away. But they were able to get up. They got their scout up on their left side. They slowly started working up and started poking. They were dealing pretty significant damage, but just the angles that FM was choosing to engage from almost buttoned Smoke Jays up and didn't allow them to get comfortable.
Yeah, one moment, I'm just trying to work in the chat. Someone accidentally typed raffle on my channel.
Oh,
so
I didn't realize people were watching you.
Someone put like both of them in there or something.
Gotcha. I'm going to say it now while we're watching the replay. I'm going to go ahead and open up another raffle for another day of premium time. We're going to do one now, and then after the 5th match, after the last drop, we're going to do the Mech Bay one. So one more one-day premium time code here starting now. So in 5 minutes I'll put it into chat and it should line up. Go ahead and type !raffle to enter and have a chance at the one-day premium time. So both teams definitely kind of taking their time on this one, entering the poke phase, watching their seismics, just trying to see who would make a mistake first.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like it brings me back to when that Arctic Cheetah ran through. I mean, not only was 420 down from
too.
The Dragon,
yeah.
but the Arctic Cheetah. I feel like when the Arctic Cheetah went through, and we can kind of see this right here on, I think not quite my stream. Sorry, I was on your stream. But in a little bit on my stream, you'll be able to see that. And
they
when
did react to it, but it was too slow. I think they started curving around the left side to try and get an angle once the Cheetah did go through, but they weren't able to effectively put fire downfield until the Cheetah was already dead. So they kind of lost that mech for almost no reason, and it actually kind of put them in a worse position because now they allowed FM to start curving around from both sides and surround them, and it went downhill very quickly from there. But both teams did deal significant damage to each other, but even ignoring the Dragon situation and being down a mech, it was still possible for Smoke Jays to still win this. It wasn't impossible at that point. They were trading relatively well, but that Cheetah coming around, it sucked. That was almost useless
Well, it did cause a distraction. The distraction wasn't used,
Yeah,
and so
they
he
didn't
kind of
get
died in
effective
vain
fire out of it.
almost.
Yep.
They didn't make any movement. They didn't focus down any mech
He
what was
might
going
not
on.
have
It just
known
kind of
that
ran
they had a
through.
streak boat, maybe. I don't know, but his heart was in the right place, but it did not go as planned for sure. And that's just one that they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board on. Is if we're trying to break a stalemate like this, how do we do it without losing people? And that was pretty rough. So 5-0 at this point.
Yeah, on my stream now, you just see the
going.
cleanup just going right through.
Yep, and one more mech to go, which is the Raven. And like I said before, the Raven might have been able to take that Timberwolf down. I didn't get to really see how hurt that Timberwolf was, but his percentage was so low that I would assume he might have been able to drill a laser in and take him out, but opted to skirmish with the Firestar or the Cheetah, and then it ultimately went down.
Yeah, and then he just got surrounded there at the end, and he wasn't able to finish anything off. I'm wondering if that happened to my team. I'm kind of wondering how we would have dealt with it.
Fire
we
the
could
guy
easily...
that got freaking killed,
Yeah,
killed himself.
Well, that's first
Start
process.
with that.
But I'm wondering, like, we might have fallen into a little bit of an issue, like, because it puts a panic on your DC when something like that happens. So there might have been a little bit of an issue with, we could have done something a little hasty, possibly, and might have lost the match because of it. But I'm kind of thinking, like, instead of panicking, would it have been better if they thought about just taking Delta 4? Because at least from there they have some high ground and they can take some Delta 3 and they can shoot down on the mechs and maybe bring a better fire lane, even if they're not at the right range, if they can just mask their fire. So I'm wondering if 420 should have taken a little more roundabout approach and still, understood, they have to push, but I'm thinking that they had some time left, at least. I want to say they had at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If not, well, okay, they had maybe like 5 minutes. But if they could have taken a slightly better position instead of forcing themselves through the narrow corridors by the nuclear power plants,
Yeah.
it could have turned out a little bit closer for them.
So in chat, I'm seeing from Zarnia that there's a display bug where if you are out of bounds, you do get the initial message of being out of bounds, but if you go in and then back out before the display can reset, then you get no message. So that could have happened, skirting the edge that closely.
Ooh.
Maybe he thought he was okay, but there was really no reason to be that close to the edge. Has to watch the map. I mean, you're not going to lose anything by being an extra 5 feet off of the edge. You're not going to suddenly get run down. And you never know. If they decided to charge water, maybe your instinct is to take a step back and you would actually back up into out of bounds. So giving yourself a little bit of a buffer is probably better. One
other thing is whenever I'm near a boundary or near something that is going to stop my movement physically, I always try to angle myself so I'm moving along the side of that instead of back and forth where I'm getting closer and further away from it. And that the one helps prevent you from going out of bounds because you're not able to, like, unless you turn your mech, you are not able to walk out of bounds. And two, if you do get pushed and you need to move, you have the room to move instead of backing into something. So that's something that pilot might want to consider in the future, is just making sure his body is positioned, or his legs are positioned properly, so that he's almost on a rail that's not like where he can go forward and go back, but that's not out of bounds. That's just along the side.
Yeah. I think that
kind of a precaution I take.
This is the kind of thing that he is never going to do ever again.
Probably
That's one of those instances where it sticks with you so long. That and that mad rush by that Arctic Cheetah. Hopefully he kind of reflects on that. Maybe I wasn't in their team speak. I don't know whether or not maybe there was communication that they were gonna do something, but the timing was just off. Maybe this was just kind of a gung-ho act to try and get something to happen, but unfortunately it made it swing from their reliable, okay trades into devastating. Like, they had to step out to take their shots, and that allowed FM to kind of release in the other direction and start to take away those positions from Smoke Jays. If that Arctic Cheetah never pushed, it could have potentially either been very close or could have gone in Smoke Jay's direction if FM allowed them to continue trading like that and had their Arctic Cheetah alive still. That's rough. That's hard to know that kind of thing's going to happen, but at the same time, running straight through the enemy team if your entire team's not just drilling shots in when that's happening, it's you can't do that. You can't afford to do that. So that's another thing, just like the guy who suicided, that hopefully he doesn't blame anybody but himself, and then just uses that to try and become better.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for him to beat himself up over it, but he needs to learn from it and improve himself so that he can compete at a higher level in the future. And it looks, I think the next match might be about to begin.
So let's talk about Tourmaline Desert. This is the assault drop. 2 lights for the scouting still, 2 heavies, and 4 assaults, but no mediums. So very slow moving drop. And on Tourmaline, who knows what we'll see. We might see a standoff ER large action. It is possible to brawl rush, but a lot slower. That gives the ER players a lot more time to put shots on target instead of a fast rush in. So what do you think we'll see?
All right. Well, I mean, it's Tourmaline Desert. It's pretty obvious it should be mostly long range. What would be interesting would be if there's kind of a setup where there's a mostly long range team, but there's some lights or a heavy or 2 that can get in a little bit closer with mid range. I guess mid-range builds to kind of work some flanks and cause problems, because then you have the main force that's drawing the attention from the enemy, which allows those other players on that team to work different angles. So there's going to be some sort of position that both teams are going to try to take, and then one team is going to aggress the other in the end is probably what's going to happen. And I'm curious to see what they choose for that. But it'd be interesting to see if there's more than just everyone goes long range. Are they going to have a little bit of diversity so they can work more angles and attack in a little bit closer and get a little more of a deeper strike into the enemy so that their main fire lane doesn't just get battered to death slowly over time and then whoever has the stronger fire lane wins? But if there's more things going on, I think that could cause more problems for either side depending on what side does it. And then it could go very well. I don't know who's going to win. I feel like I want to say 420 generally has been having a little bit better focus. So if it just is fire lane to fire lane, I think 420 might win this. But if FM has a little bit more stuff going on in their drop deck, they could easily have a shot at it. Well, looks like we're about to go in.
Yep, we're heading in right now. And congratulations to TKO Spec 5 for winning the one-day premium tag code. And he says, "Ha at you," because he won.
Okay. Well, congratulations, buddy.
Alright, let's go take a look at what we got here. So, I'm over by FM right now. We got a Jägermech A. Let's see what his build is. 2 Gauss rifles. So, he's opting for the dual Gauss Jägermech A. Panther with 2 ER large laser, 2 ER large laser, Raven 3L. So, definitely running a long-range FM deck. What do you got over by Smoke Jays?
Alright, so I'm seeing a Raven 4X, Thunderbolt 5SS, Hellbringer A. What's he actually got? I can stop this. No! Sorry! Camera's awful. Alright. So, Gauss Rifle, ER larges on the Hellbringer. Thunderbolt has 3 ER large, 4 mediums.
So we got 2 range decks. Looks like FM is moving up into the F7 region here. This is a tough place to play range from because there's some approaches if it was against a brawl deck. But
ooh, I'm seeing a Warhawk. That's definitely it's a fast assault. Yeah, on FM side.
Yep.
And it's I'm gonna
lower
check the
tonnage
loadout
for
right here. 2 Clan Gauss and 2 Clan ER mediums. So it's a little more mobile. It's not as stuck to its place as the Direwolf is, but it definitely does not have the same
that gives
damage.
them 2 clan assaults though, with the Direwolf and the Warhawk both in there.
There's a Warhawk. Oh yes.
Yep.
There's a Warhawk and a Direwolf on. Oh, interesting.
And FM opted for the dual King Crabs with their 1 duplicate mech. The duplicate on the Smoke Jays is their Raven 4X. They went for their clans, the Direwolf, the Hellbringer, and the Warhawk as well. Then opting for a Highlander instead of King Crab. And then they brought their 5SS for their heavy ER large 5SS. Well, FM went for the cooler running dual Gauss Jaeger.
Alright, it looks like that. Okay, so it looks like 420 is taking a Echo 4 position, and then FM is taking the Fox 7 position.
Yep.
So these are definitely standoff positions here. I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
As Smoke Jays is in transit, they can deal effective damage if they stay together and get all their guns to bear, but they're pretty spread out right now. They are getting some poke damage across the field, but I think that's just the one Raven. Now, if memory serves, those Ravens have a much farther reach than any of the clan tech. Is that correct? Like the quirks for the
Raven
4X gives it massively long range.
Those are the longest range energy weapons in the game.
And they are definitely using it right here. And they're getting the strikes down.
949 meters for the Ravens.
So unless these guys put their Gauss on target, it's going to be very hard to trade with those Ravens. But more mechs are starting to get their skin to the game. Mostly just scratch damage right now. Not much going on, but I would definitely say Smoke Jays is winning the initial trade. But if they start getting into their optimal ranges, that could still go either way. But for right now, it's been a lot of scratch damage, a lot of spread damage on FM. And they're opting to move now. They don't like that Foxtrot for that long range. They realize that they are being outgunned from that far away, and they're going to try and either bring it closer or just find a new angle. At the same time, Smoke Jays is actually moving up around the hoop, and they are so close together.
Angle from Echo 5 where he can see the enemies.
This 3L may end up taking some shots if he moves up too aggressively here.
Logana 13, sorry if I butcher your name, but this is a good position for this Raven 4X because he's a little closer and he's causing another angle for FM to look at.
Ooh, that Raven just narrowly missed that Gauss shot right there. Good close, tight peaks for him, but FM continues to move up, just trying to rotate and find a new position.
It looks like 420 is pretty content to stay by this ring. Whereas FM's continuing to just rotate to the right.
But you know they've burned 5 minutes off the clock, but not a lot of damage has been dealt by either team. So they can take their time. They can try and find angles that work here, and maybe one team will make a terrible mistake and they can capitalize on it. So that's kind of like what we were talking about before. Now, given this isn't a brawl deck, so you're not as worried about taking your time in a range deck because you naturally take your time, but definitely not doing any super hyper aggressive maneuvers here. They're just trying to rotate and find a new angle, figure out what works, and reacting to Smoke Jay's movement.
Looks like they might have felt.
Does that EBJ
like
have small lasers? He's gonna be really bored for a while.
Which Evan Jack?
The FM Bear Claw. I think he's running a brawler deck almost.
Let me check.
Maybe a Gauss small lasers or something?
2 Gauss, 4 smalls. So he's not going to be bored.
So he's mixed. He's mixed, but if he
defense
runs out of ammo, he's going to be pretty bored.
Like we have a Raven 3L from FM that's starting to get a flank going to maybe get some intel on what's going on.
Let's see what he can do here.
He's spotted the enemy.
Yeah, he's under ECM, so he gave away his position now. Woo! There goes that Gauss right over his shoulder.
Yep, but it didn't hit him. Twice.
He's getting back quick. Let's see
good poking
maybe they'll
from
pre-fire
Arday. See if anything else is going on here. We have Uber Shoots getting a high position in Echo 4 where he can see some of the team.
Yep.
Like T-Buzz and his King Crabs moving up a little up. He's turned back. Both teams are very much at a stalemate right now. They haven't decided to do anything.
Got a Raven versus Raven battle on the right flank, but the 4X is going to win out on the optimal range there. Still not a lot of damage being placed on target,
just gave up a higher position and is starting to move down into a little bit of a valley.
They're going to take a lot of initial fire here on the move. And they're definitely well within range now, so this damage is going to count. And the Direwolf has taken a lot of hits, down to 92%. They're trying to get their weapons closer, but they're paying for it in armor right now.
Looks like they were able to get some cover because they went down into that goalie, though.
Yeah.
So that's wasn't too bad of a trade. There's going to be some exchanges here going on.
See, they're playing whack-a-mole though now, so this is where Smoke Jays doesn't have to worry about using cover here. Every single time an FM mech peaks, they're going to try and get every single gun on that target. So unless they start doing some coordinated aggressive peeking, mechs are going to start getting singled out, and you're going to see individual mechs start getting cored out here, start losing some components. And it looks like they're not going to challenge it. They realize that that's not where they want to trade from. And when did Ubershoots go down? How did I miss that? That is why they're falling back. What happened to him? He was up in the right. I bet you he took a Gauss shot. That had to have been a long-range Gauss.
Like the rear, maybe, while he was moving around, his rear armor just maybe. But
goodness gracious, I can't believe I even missed that. I thought we were going to be staring at this for a while. But FM now is retreating to a power position. Effectively, Smoke Jays is now right back where they were last match with being down a mech. And they're going to have to be the aggressors here. And it looks like they're not wasting any time.
Poisoner and a Direwolf might get caught, though. Oh, his team stopped and waited for him. So it looks like Poisoner's not going to get caught here.
This has put FM in a great position. If they can get somewhere that they can trade from. Right now they're still pretty clustered, kind of bumping into each other. They're not really in an effective trade position yet.
It almost looks like our day.
Oh, this Artie is going to be huge. Oh, it was an airstrike. It hit the Direwolf good, but if that was an Artie strike, I think that would have done quite a bit more. But still, well placed. Well played. Here comes another one. H-Bizzle isn't reacting fast enough. Boom! Yep. Another hit.
This team's stuck in this little goalie.
And they are paying for
the Tourmaline and the hill.
These are awesome strikes. Let's go take a look at Smoke Jays.
Is it better for them to not move and to suffer through the strikes? Do they have the better position now?
I don't think. I don't feel like that was a good position, and I think the percentages are starting to show that. That Warhawk has taken quite a bit of damage here.
Yep, it does look like the percentages per mech are in favor of 420.
I feel like FM is just falling right back into another whack-a-mole situation, and Smoke Jays feels pretty comfortable with their spread right now. They don't have to move. They just are putting the shots on target, but that Warhawk is hurt. He's probably combat ineffective, and he's moving into the back right now, allowing the rest of his team to trade. But here comes a lot of hits on that Jaeger mech, taking quite a few Gauss. That hurt like hell. Down to 59%. And one of his Gauss blows.
Like FM's about to just bail off this position here.
I'm pretty sure that was a Jaeger mech Gauss blowing right now. And his shoulder has got to be wide open from that explosion.
Yeah, let me check that out.
That's Uncle Russ in the Jaeger mech. I'm actually surprised he did not die there from that Gauss explosion.
So he's lost a torso, but he's a standard engine.
Standard engine, okay.
He only has 10 shots left, though, so he can't do very much. He has 150 potential damage in his mech right now.
So they are rotating hard around the left side, just trying to get an angle that works, but percentage is definitely going hard in favor of Smoke Jays. They don't realize that they've moved up here. They need to look to the right because they are missing a lot of opportunities.
Right here.
There they go.
It looks like someone's found it. Mongo's the first one to shoot in, and it looks like there's a
the Warhawk is getting pinned out, though.
From FM.
King Crab is walking right up into it. King Crab versus Direwolf battle over here. Ballsy Warhawk is going to get completely cored out.
It's now 2-1. But still in favor of 420 or of FM here.
FM, that's surprising, but I think we're going to be seeing some mechs dropping pretty quick here. We got a flanker Raven. Flanker Raven taking out the Jaeger mech, or trying to over here. This is an interesting exchange on this side. That Raven is right below the Jaeger mech. The Jaeger mech, I'm pretty sure, is sticked at this point, and he's ignoring him.
Yep, Uncle Russ is just trying to bail out, not die at this point. We have
FM swung around
68%. H-Bizzle's really hurt at 36%. Let me get
FM is doing a fantastic job. Like, even though they're low percentage, they're keeping their guys alive and they're dealing the damage.
Oh, look at this. Well, actually, Uncle Russ just stopped doing it, but Uncle Russ is doing a great move there, pinning the Raven into a spot where he could get hit up at the
nice job,
up the
Russ.
Hill. And just standing there and body blocking.
T-Buzz goes down. This is very costly battle. Mechs falling all over the place. This is not looking good for Smoke Jays here.
Uncle Charles just got a good kill in there.
The Panther is the freshest mech, followed by the Raven, but they can take down that Direwolf and that Ebon Jag here.
Bear Claw and his Ebon Jag stripped now with his Gauss rifles.
Poisoner needs to be taken down really quick.
54%. Poisoner could still do some damage here. A Direwolf is very powerful, especially this late in the game.
They need to
If you
take
just
that
take the
direwolf
mechs
out.
down,
He needs to take
he's
that. And
lost
he's
his
down.
side torso.
Down. All we got left is the Raven. Now, the Raven should be able to kill that direwolf and that Ebon Jaguar pretty handily if he can get the shots on. But the Panther and the other Raven are not going to allow him to get those shots in. He needs to be going straight into that Ebon Jag. He cannot survive a skirmish with the Panther and the 3L, but he is opting to run for it, try to get some shots on. Missed opportunity there where he could have gone in and sealed the deal on 2 mechs, but instead just trying to run away. That's never going to work in this situation.
Oh man, I
and
hate these
8-4
controls.
decision in favor of FM. That was going back and forth in my mind so long. Mad props to FM for, even when your mechs were incredibly damaged, being able to focus fire and start picking down Smoke J's mechs. Like, I don't know if Smoke J's thought, hey, we got really good trades in, things are looking really good for us, let's just get in there and get it done. But FM brought it together, dealt some massive damage, kept their heavier guys alive, and were able to just systematically pick away the Smoke J's mechs one at a time, ultimately winning the match. That was an incredible comeback in my mind. I mean, they were up after that Raven kill, which really started things moving, just like last match with the suicide. Started things moving in a direction away from Smoke J's, but Smoke J's was putting incredible fire. FM was getting completely rocked. They had absolutely nothing working in their favor, and then something happens, something clicks with FM where they get into a position almost like a brawl range position where they fell into their brawl mentality and used that effectively to wear down Smoke J's mechs one at a time. Because even still, the Smoke J's mechs still had relatively high percentage, but they were focusing one mech at a time, taking them out, and they just could not seal the deal. So that was some pretty intense gameplay, but overall, FM coming out on top, just picking them away. I honestly almost think that Smoke J's would have been better off just smashing into a brawl range with every mech they had. They possibly could have won that, but there's no way they could have known how damaged all of those mechs were without like a proper UAV or something like that. They didn't know that FM was falling apart and opted to stay back, and some of their guys just got punished every time they peaked, and they lost it.
Yeah, I mean,
Be quick before we continue analysis. I am opening up the raffle for the mech bay, so in 5 minutes I'll put it in chat, but you should be hearing it now. Type !raffle for a chance at winning a mech bay code. Continue.
I'm wondering how Ubershoots did go down. Was it a kill? Was it an
I would like to hear
accidental
from chat.
override?
Yeah, I'm almost willing to bet it was like a Gauss to the face or side torso or something, but I would definitely be interested to see what the hell did I miss, because that was a shock. I did not see what happened. Next thing I know, I look up and a Raven's laying on the ground, and that really set things in motion. Whoever made that shot, if it was a shot from FM, whoever made that shot deserves a medal, because that swung things in favor of your team so quickly, and excellent job by that pilot. So yeah, if anybody in chat knows what happens, if we have any of the FM or Smoke J's guys in chat, let us know. But wow, I was hoping for a good fight. Things were looking very favorable for Smoke J's. Flavor of the month got their shit together and came back, and even though they did lose the series, their wins in those last 2 matches were so good for them. And there's bonus points for killing those heavies and assaults. I mean, and the 8-0 decision and the 8-4 decision. I mean, that's gonna get them right back on the leaderboard, and they should feel very good about this, even though they did lose that one match, or they're down by 1, so 3-2 decision favor of Smoke J's. That was hard fought. That was close, and they're not as bad off as they could have been if they kept on that same trend.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they calmed down a little bit and went, okay, well, we've already lost 3. Let's, instead of like trying to force these in our favor, let's try to just work it out. And then that actually brought them back. Maybe if the pressure was off was part of it, or they realized, hey, we can't just rush this, and then they learned from that themselves. But yeah, it was good on FM to bring that into a much closer series than I was afraid it was going to be a 5-0 from what it was looking like. And so
we're going to see here
really
in a second, I
see.
think, where you said that they were able to pin that Raven up there to take some shots.
Let me
that
see.
Might be right here. Yep. That Jaegermech holding him, and he's taking some extra shots. That was sneaky shit by that guy's stick, but still effectively causing pain for that Raven. So that was good maneuver by that Jaegermech, just pinning him up in there. Didn't do too much damage, but every little bit counts in that situation.
When the Raven's like, I hate you.
Yeah, he's gonna kill that guy. I'm glad that Jaegermech didn't live to the end, because that would have been embarrassing. But yeah, so I mean, at this point, it's looking pretty good for FM, but they still have two very hurt mechs. That Raven should have been up there, focusing fire on those heavily damaged mechs, but maybe he didn't have that information. I cannot believe that Direwolf lived through all that. That is incredible.
Well, he kept moving, so he wasn't just standing still, getting focused, and he kept shooting guys. Whenever he got poked at, he shot back. Yeah. Even if he didn't hit with everything, he put so much fire down range.
This Raven needs to bail, use his jump jets, bail over the top, and just take a straight shot for those heavy mechs. And if he got both of them, that still would have given them a bonus C-bills and stuff. But you're never going to get away from that Panther, ever. So, ballsy move to try and retreat, but goodness gracious, what a series. That was a very fun match to watch. Mad props to both Smoke Jays and Flavor of the Month. That was fun to watch. It was a little worrying at the beginning, but something swung that momentum in FM's direction. So, huge props to FM bringing that back and turning it into a match. Almost I would have to see what the C-bill rewards are, but I would almost say that they probably broke even with Smoke Jays on this. But
yeah, it was probably a little bit in Smoke Jay's favor, I would say.
Just because of the awards and stuff.
Just because of I believe Smoke Jays killed a few more mechs, and they also did win 3 of the fights. Mm-hmm. Winning is not as D-bill, I guess, or it doesn't give as big of a reward as it did last season, but it still does give a reward. And kills are much more important than they were last season, so that's a change between the rules. And but I think it's definitely close, like you said. I would put a little bit of favor in the C-bills for 420 though.
So according to the chat, I'm hearing that Uber actually overheated and killed himself.
Oh,
that sucks. That's 2 very big mistakes for Smoke Jays there that they have to make sure that they clean that up, because that just goes to show, especially in an 8v8, how one pilot's mistake can swing this hard in the other direction.
You lose about 12.5% of your total mech force, as well as now you have the loss if it goes down to the time. So that's a lot of pressure.
That takes you have to leave your comfort zone. You have to be on the offensive then. And while they did get their shots on target fairly well, once again, as Smoke Jay's entire run-up, as they're moving up in their aggressive maneuver, they were getting shots on target. They were trading very well. And then it swung once again. It swung the other way. And I didn't get a chance to really analyze what caused it to swing there. The only thing I can think of is people were forcing peaks and were getting completely wrecked. Like every time they'd come around a corner, they'd take 4 mechs of damage in the face. That had to have been what it is, because the percentages for FM were very low. Very low. But every time a Smoke Jay's mech peaked, they punished him and they took him out. And that's where it matters. It doesn't matter if you're 80%. You peak bad, you get smoked. That's all it takes.
So 1 guy against 3, it's not going to work.
So they needed to come up with some better way to find firing angles with more than 1 mech, or find a way to do like 1v1 trades, because the 1v1 trades were working pretty well for them too. Try and find a way to do that without overexposing yourself. So maybe getting a little bit more distance and just trying to spread some shots in from multiple angles, take away their hiding space. It's hard to say. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but hopefully they can come back to this footage. Hopefully they can review their own footage and just try and figure out what happened there, and then come back stronger for their next match.
I feel like the move that really changed it, other than obviously the overheat kill that kind of put 420 in a bad position from kind of a strategy point of view where you just weren't able to do what you wanted to do at that point. I feel like what kind of really put it in there in FM's favor was when they pulled off of that hill they're getting striked on, circled around to their left side, and 420 didn't see it coming, and they could shoot down in between the gaps of the spires and focus one mech because they were further back, or they were closer to the. Yeah. They were a little bit closer into the spires, so they could focus all their fire through the spires, but the spires were protecting their sides of their mechs, so they could focus one or two mechs down there around the open, whereas the other mechs in the open couldn't shoot back into them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was where they started to win their trades back, and then they could just steamroll it from there, because they got a few kills in. And I think that was like a key change to the momentum of how the map was going.
Absolutely. And once again, just want to reiterate, I said it at the beginning of the match, I don't believe that there's going to be a second match to Shoutcast here. I'm going to take a look around to see if there's anybody that we can emergency drop into. Because I did advertise this as a double header. But I've been seeing posts from APOC saying that they weren't going to play, but I'm gonna verify that right now. Let me find out, because Mech the Dane still thinks they're playing, so maybe that we will have a match. Let me find out here. 1 second.
I'm gonna let them know that we may still have a double header in the chat.
Well, Apocalypse Lancers TeamSpeak doesn't look too good. They're all playing World War